The dawning of a new era in CSB sports.
We're so awesome that even our school wants us. You got to come on here. AllNoiseRadio.com, baby. We need your support. We appreciate your support. Look forward to our show every week.
Our new lunchtime spot, 12 to 1, bringing you a wide variety of topics in the world of sports.
Hockey.
I like the new icing rules as well. A great move by the NHL doing that.
You know, the Penguins still have all that talent. Their goaltending kills them.
Basketball.
If you're going to ask me whether they're going to knock the Heat off or the Pacers, I'm probably going to say no.
If you got a streak and you go against the Bulls, you're going down. They broke Miami's long winning streak last year.
If they get that Eastern Conference #1 seed and everything's got to go through Conseco Fieldhouse, I think it's going to be tough to knock them off.
The Miami Heat are the two-time defending champions, but I think their road's going to be very hard to get back to the finals for the 4th straight year.
Baseball.
Money's not an issue for Derek Jeter. Money's not an issue for Alex Rodriguez. Money's not an issue for Sabathia. Money's not an issue for Mark Teixeira, but Robinson Cano, ooh, not our best player. Can't pay him. I don't like calls like this. This is ridiculous. It's bad for baseball, but you know what? Bud Selig's bad for baseball. Ruggies, they essentially let their best player walk for a far inferior ball player in Jacoby Ellsbury.
Football.
There's so many weapons on Denver. He's got an embarrassment of riches as far as targets to throw to. I don't think San Diego runs the football well enough to really compete in this game.
Peyton Manning kind of answered the skeptics there. Didn't play well in the cold in New England. Do that with running the ball, getting first downs, sustaining drives, and let him get cold on the bench.
You can't tell me he was trying to protect the field goal because there's no way you're kicking the field goal into the win from the 40.
That's a team I predicted to go to the playoffs, and they're sitting at 0-2, and they're in total disarray. You know, but at the same time, they're 10 seconds away from being 2-0.
6 goal-to-go plays in the first half and no passes into the end zone.
Come on. The most amazing stat that I saw is Dallas' defense. They forced 4 turnovers and still lost the game.
Get ready.
We work hard. We love sports.
The knowledge.
I just want to make you look bad, Ruggs, because you always make me look bad with your sports intellect.
The passion.
Hey, Jimmy, you're going to be the best-looking guy on the unemployment line, buddy. What a disgrace.
It's the Zuki and Ruggs Show on All Noise Radio.
Yeah, it is. Zuki and Ruggs Show on All Noise Radio and allnoiseradio.com. Happy New Year to one and all our listeners out there. Talking sports live from CSB Studios in Stratford, Connecticut. I'm Ruggs, and I'm along with my partner here, Zuki. What's up, Zook? Happy New Year.
Hey, yo. Happy New Year. Happy 2014. Unfortunately for the Dallas Cowboys, different year, same old story. Different quarterback, same old story as well. Looks like Kyle Orton followed in the footsteps of Tony Romo.
It's like these guys read a script. I mean, they just follow the same pattern. You're going to be 8-8. You're going to have a chance in the last week, and you're going to throw a late pick.
Yep.
Season over. Sound about right?
Yeah, well, I guess the uniform. It's in the DNA. I guess it's in the uniform. I don't know what it is, but it was a tremendous football game. Unfortunately for the Dallas Cowboys, for the 3rd straight season, they fall short and will not win the NFC East and will not participate in the playoffs, where they probably would have gotten crushed anyway by the New Orleans Saints. But nevertheless, the Philadelphia Eagles move on to the end. We'll face the New Orleans Saints this week, and it's been a great year for the Eagles. I can't believe I went out there a couple months ago when they played the Giants, and they looked bad. I mean, they were 3-5. You know, they looked lost. It looked like the season was spinning out of control for the Eagles, and I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs, but they turned it around. Nick Foles came on strong. Played well,
healthy, and all of a sudden, yeah, like you said, playing lights out.
And they rode LaShawn McCoy, and great job by the Philadelphia Eagles.
You know what gets underrated with Philadelphia, though? They have one of the best offensive lines in the league. I mean, they just give Foles all kinds of time to throw because he likes to hold on to the ball. I mean, if he didn't have that line, he'd be in a lot of trouble. They blow holes for McCoy. I mean, the size trucks could drive through those holes. I mean, even
like he needs them too.
Exactly, and he's so quick. And then even when they spell him with Bryce Brown, he gets big gains through that offensive line.
Yeah, and he had the game-clinching touchdown there, Bryce Brown. Yeah, but the Dallas Cowboys, just a terrible, terrible loss for them. And Tony Romo gets vindicated here. You know, all these people that want to bash Tony Romo on social media and so on and so forth. You got idiots like Terrell Owens. Hey, Terrell, by the way, can we stop putting a microphone in front of Terrell Owens' mouth? I mean, really. I mean, I know people probably don't want a microphone in front of my mouth, but, you know, Terrell Owens, this is the same guy that cried for Tony Romo. That's my quarterback, man. That's my quarterback. If you guys do that to him, that's not fair, man. Now you turn around and you say Kyle Orton gives the Cowboys a better shot to win. Hey, Terrell, have you been watching football lately, buddy? Since you've been jettisoned from the league? Like, come on. How can you say something so idiotic? And people that were saying that Orton actually gives the Cowboys a better shot to win. You just don't know what you're talking about.
That's crazy.
I mean,
Crazy
just
talk.
really, insanity. Stop it. Tony Romo, for all his shortcomings, for all the mistakes that he's made in his career, and all the disappointments, the guy is still a relatively excellent quarterback. I mean, we had this discussion back in March, and you have these discussions throughout the season. Give me 10 guys that are better.
It's tough to do. It really is.
I mean, the first 5, obviously.
First 5 come easily.
Of course.
The next few,
You're reaching. You're reaching.
And then it gets real tough.
You want to give me Matt Ryan? Oh, my God, no.
No,
I mean, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, these guys are all cut from the same cloth. They all throw big. Go to Detroit. Let me ask you, I tell you what, I challenge all these Tony Romo detractors or haters, if you will. Go to Detroit and ask them what they go to a Detroit Lion fan and say, hey, Matthew Stafford's 100 times better than Tony Romo. You'll get laughed at. Ask this guy right here, my co-host to my right. Ask him, who would you rather have, Matt Ryan or Tony Romo?
No, the only reason I would
Are you kidding me? Matt Ryan just threw 2 games away in the last 2 weeks.
And the only reason I would lean toward those other 2 guys slightly, and very slightly, is just the age. It's only because of the age. They got a few years on them.
Yeah.
They might be. They have a little bit longer shelf life. Now with this herniated disc, you don't know what that's going to do.
Right.
But,
which is unfortunate for Romo. I hope he can bounce back.
But just straight up talent-wise, take Romo over those 2.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I used to bash Romo, but now it's getting to the point where I actually feel bad for the guy. He's not a terrible quarterback. He gives you a chance to win. He gives the Cowboys a chance to win the division year in, year out. He's unfairly just ridiculed, criticized, and it's really getting ridiculous now. And hopefully now Cowboy fans can, after this game can.
Yeah, I'll say 2 things about last night's game.
Cut Romo some slack here.
Definitely. And I thought Dallas's defense, which has been very maligned, played about as well as they could play last night. I thought they kept them in the game. They could have given up 50 points to that Philadelphia offense if they had played the way they had been the last couple weeks. They played much better. And also, I thought Kyle Orton did a pretty good job. I mean, he didn't do a great job. He didn't win them the game. He kept them in there. Again, this is Dallas's downfall all year. They don't run the football enough. They didn't run it in key situations last night.
You're right.
I mean, I know Murray fumbles on the first drive, and that was a killer. It really hurt.
It really was.
Really hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
Changed kind of the course of the way the game was going early. But they got to stick to the run. A lot of it's the offensive coordinating, Bill Callahan and the head coaching of Jason Garrett. They just don't stick with it. You got to stick with it. You got a guy with talent like DeMarco Murray. You got to try, especially when you got a high-powered offense. You got Chip Kelly's offense on the other side of the field. You got to try to control the ball a little bit more. They get away from it, even with Kyle Orton. I mean, they're throwing the ball too much. If Romo was in there, it probably would have been even worse.
Yep.
And I think that's the biggest downfall of the Cowboys, is that's why they don't hold these late leads. They didn't have it one last night, but a lot of these games that they lost late, it's because they can't control the clock.
Well, I've looked at some of the stats, and they don't run the ball as well or as much in the second half as they do in the first half. But that's also because they also fall behind. Their defense just doesn't keep them in games. And unfortunately, you get caught in a shootout. And in a shootout, you got to throw the ball. But you're right. There's been times where they've ignored the run in crucial situations. Last night was one of them, especially with a backup quarterback. You'd like to put more emphasis on the run in the second half. But, hey, it is what it is. That's the way Dallas has played all year. And I think it did ultimately cost them in the long run. It did cost them. But Jason Garrett, he's going to keep his job, it looks like. And that's befuddling to me. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah,
perhaps
if you want 8-8 every year, I mean, he's your guy. But
yeah, I mean, he's just not a good head coach. I don't think Garrett's the guy, but Jerry Jones likes him. He's a puppet. That's what Jerry Jones likes.
Tell me, Zook, what's different between this team this year, the team that ended last year, and the team that ended the year before and the year before that? I don't see any improvement.
No, it's the same team.
And their roster actually seems to get better each year, and they don't improve.
I don't want to hear about Monty Kiffin either, because Rob Ryan's defense was inept as well. So they're trying to blame Monty Kiffin. Stop it. Please stop.
Jerry
it.
Jones is. I mean, he's got something against the elderly or something, like you were talking about before with Landry, and now he's going after. He's going to try to make Monty Kiffin the scapegoat. Just because he's the oldest,
not gonna work.
He's the oldest guy in the organization right now. I mean, I don't understand.
It's not going to work. But nevertheless, that was an intriguing ball game.
Yeah, there was a lot more this weekend.
What a crazy week! What a crazy day yesterday. One of the wildest days I've ever seen in the NFL since I've been watching. Got to give it to Roger Goodell and the NFL schedule makers for putting all these divisional games together, and it just worked out perfectly because Detroit, couldn't take hold of the NFC North, so you had a divisional game there between the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers, and the Green Bay Packers came out on top due to Aaron Rodgers' heroics.
He dusted the cape off when he came through.
Unbelievable. Got to give the John Kuhn on the first one, obviously. Great job getting that first down. But, man, what a throw on that fourth down to Nelson. He threw it down low to the ground. Nelson came up with it. And then Ruggies, how does Randall Cobb get that wide open?
Terrible defense. I mean, the Bears' defense has been bad all year long. They don't deserve to go to the playoffs, just like we were talking about with Dallas. I mean, they weren't going to do anything if they got there. Totally bad job, just a blown play by the Chicago defense. But nobody really talked about it because everybody was focused on Aaron Rodgers, how important it was that they got Randall Cobb back for this game.
Yes.
I mean, he's a game breaker, and he was the biggest play of the year for them.
2 touchdowns, and he was huge for them. Randall Cobb was big. I actually thought during the week leading up to the game on Sunday, that was the big deciding factor for me. When I found out Cobb was finally healthy and going to play, I really thought the Bears were overmatched at that point. I think even with Rodgers coming back, okay, they still had a shot at winning the game. But now you bring in Randall Cobb, an all-pro receiver. Oh, man, that's just too many weapons. And, yeah, Green Bay came out on top. And I think another big play, I mean, there's a lack of discipline by the Bears completely in that game. They really shot themselves in the foot in this game, which they've done for most of the season. I mean, that Jarrett Boykin fumble, I mean, if you're the Bears, you're programmed as a football player to know loose ball, play to a whistle. I mean, no one on the field on the Bears is saying, hey, grab the ball or just grab Boykin. Don't let him go in the end zone. Do something. I mean, they're just lollygagging, nonchalantly just walking around. You could have played some circus music, and Jarrett Boykin warily picks up the ball and walks to the end zone, and it's a touchdown.
I'll tell you who wouldn't have put up with that is Lovie Smith.
Well, let me tell you something about the Chicago Bears organization. As I've said before, they are just an inept organization. I don't like the way they conduct their business. They really are frugal. It's silly. It's silly how they fired Lovie Smith. I don't want to hear about performance. It was not based on performance. It was clearly based on salary. And they fired Lovie Smith, and they bring in this Mark Trestman. I'm sorry. The guy's a clown. Mark Trestman does not belong. He is not an NFL coach. I mean, where did you find this guy? It's a joke. And that's why he's probably one of the lowest paid coaches in the league. Come on. It is pathetic. This guy should not be an NFL coach. But you know what? I'm glad it happened. Karma, it was karma.
I don't want to hear the Bears fans going on about how if Josh McCown played the game, they'd have won. I mean, that's crazy. That's not Jay Cutler's fault.
That's yesterday. That's a reach. Cutler played well. Yeah, I mean, you want Jay Cutler to play defense and pick up the ball? I mean, what do you want from Jay Cutler? He played very well. Matt Forte played his ass off. It was just a bad performance by the Bears defense, and that's your head coach. That's coaching. Hey, but you know what? Good for the Bears. I don't like the way they conduct business. I don't like what they did to Lovie Smith last year. I don't like what they did to Brian Urlacher.
Comes back to bite you.
It does come back to bite you. That's right. You don't do that to people. You don't treat people that way. And it was a great football game. A really tremendous football game. Nice job by the Green Bay Packers. And I tell you, they're going to be dangerous. They're going to be dangerous.
You can't get a better first-round game than San Fran at Green Bay. We'll talk about that later. I mean, that's an NFC title caliber game.
Yes, it is.
Week 1.
Yes, it is
of the playoffs.
And if you're San Fran, you've got to be nervous.
They're nervous.
You better be ready.
I'm sure they're pretty steamed. They have to go to Lambeau. They're 12-4 team going on the road.
Yeah,
but that's how the system's drawn up and.
I think division winners should be rewarded. I've heard some people talking about they should change the format. I totally disagree. You win your division, you should be rewarded. I know it's not fair sometimes. Go back to that Seattle game a few years ago when New Orleans had to go to 7-9 Seattle. Hey, it's not fair. But you know what? You got to reward the division winners. You can't punish a division winner. I'm sorry. And the NFC North was a competitive division. Hey, that's what happens. Look at the Arizona Cardinals, 10-6, a very good football team. They're sitting home.
They didn't make it.
They didn't make it. So that's the way the cookie crumbles. But that was a great game. But of course, another big one, Ruggies. Got to talk about this one real quick as well. The Kansas City Chiefs San Diego Chargers. My, oh my, unbelievable events occurred in that one. I mean.
Yeah, let's just preface it with the 1 o'clock games with Baltimore and Miami, both having shots, winning in, both lose. Sets up this game, 4 o'clock, like you said, Chiefs and Chargers.
Yeah, and it's right there for the Chiefs to play spoiler to the San Diego Chargers. San Diego looks like they got punched in the mouth, didn't see it coming, and Ryan Suckup has a chance there. I tell you, when it was 24-21 Kansas City and Phillip Rivers has the ball, 1st and goal at the 8, I'm saying to myself, okay, San Diego all year has had trouble putting the ball in the end zone in big spots. It's killed them all season.
They lost the Washington game because of it.
A lot of games. You know, Tennessee, you can go through a lot of games they lost where they didn't put the ball in the end zone. They settled for field goals. And I'm sitting there, I'm saying, if there's a time, Rivers, put this ball in the end zone. Do not settle for a game-tying field goal. And they couldn't do it, and it almost cost them. Should have cost them. Ryan Suckup, Pittsburgh native, shanks a field goal to the right. But Ruggies, the biggest story wasn't even the fact that he shanked it. What was the biggest story there, Ruggies?
7 men on the right side of the long snapper. Illegal formation. Should have gotten another chance.
36. Yeah. And the refs missed it. And then they come out and say, oh, sorry, Steelers. Our bad.
Yeah, we'll write you a memo on Monday.
We owe you a Christmas present.
NFL letterhead saying that we squashed the game yesterday. But
terrible. These officials, I tell you, these officials just drive me crazy. I mean, that's something the replacement refs would have done. I mean, I'm serious. I'm telling you, football has been – NFL football officiating has been some of the worst I've seen ever this season of any sport. I think it's the worst officiated sport in all of sports.
And it's a hard game to officiate. I understand their players are, faster than they've ever been. I don't know what the answer is, if they need more, if they need better training, if they need to make them full-time employees. I've heard lots of things, lots of different ways to remedy the situation, but something has to be done.
It was terrible. It was embarrassing.
It's changing the outcomes of games now.
It is. And there you go right there. We spoke about that a few weeks ago with the 49ers Saints game. It really it affected the playoff matchups because the Pittsburgh Steelers, for all intents and purposes, should be in the postseason. Again, when you put your fate, I'm talking about I'm referencing the Steelers here. When you put your fate in the hands of an opposing team's kicker and referees, you're playing with fire. They should have taken care of business. They shouldn't have started out 0-4. But in the same respect, get the calls right. And then you go to overtime. Forget about all that. Suckup shanks the kick. I mean, how gutsy. And now come to find out, Eric Weddle is the one who called the fake punt on his own. That was not Mike McCoy or the Chargers coaching staff's decision. Weddle on his own called that.
And then he almost blows it by fumbling the football.
And luckily his helmet came off, and that kills the play. Yeah. If his helmet doesn't come off, the Kansas City Chiefs win the football game, and Pittsburgh again goes to the playoffs. My poor friends in Pittsburgh. I got a lot of friends out there. That was emotional roller coaster.
They got a toenail from Antonio Brown going out of bounds against Miami.
Cost them,
which would have been the Immaculate Reception Part 2. Would have put them in the playoffs. You got a game that they had to play in London against the terrible Vikings, and they lose
if that game was in, and we spoke about that. If that game was in Pittsburgh or even Minnesota, I think Pittsburgh wins that game.
Yeah,
I really do. I think the London flight and everything, I think that killed them.
Yeah, I do. I don't know why Pittsburgh didn't respond. I mean, they didn't get blown out, but they weren't. Minnesota came to play that day, and I don't think Pittsburgh was ready for them. And like you said, I think the game played stateside would have been in Pittsburgh's favor. Those two things, you got all of yesterday's fiasco.
Crazy game. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, you feel bad for the Steelers. Just that Kansas City-San Diego game was incredible. I mean, that really was something else. It really was a great football game. And now, you look at it, San Diego has to go to Cincinnati. Cincinnati, of course, eliminated the Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens from playoff contention. And the Ravens just very inconsistent this year. Just not very disappointing. They couldn't run the ball this year. Just I guess a Super Bowl hangover, maybe they're guilty of that, but just a, very poor effort on their part. Andy Dalton in the beginning of the game was giving him every chance to come in there and steal the game. He's throwing picks.
Yeah,
Baltimore was getting great field position. They were only kicking field goals. You got to put the ball in the end zone there. Joe Flacco didn't, I will say, year one of that big contract, he did not play well. Baltimore got holes in that contract. I'm sorry. They really got bent over the coffee table on that one. I'm sorry, guys. You guys got hosed. I mean, what do you end up with, 20 touchdowns in the season? Jeez. I think Peyton Manning threw that in 2 weeks.
By week 5.
Pretty bad. But, hey, it's looking good, looking exciting for the playoffs. It was a great day of football.
Coming up.
Great day of football. We could talk about some of the coaches that got fired on Black Monday. Rex Ryan got to keep his job because of that great Jet performance. That's what it looks like to me, Ruggs. What do you think about that? Real quick on Rex Ryan. John Idzik comes in as the new general manager before the start of the season. Okay?
Yep.
Usually general managers get to pick their coaches. for the most part. You want your guy in there. This is obviously Woody Johnson came out, endorsed Rex Ryan, says, guy's keeping his job. In my opinion, I didn't hear from Itzik. I think the general manager should have some say in it. Rex Ryan, you want to talk about mediocrity since that AFC title game where, by the way, I'm so sick and tired of hearing about, let me start by saying this. The Jets celebrate mediocrity. They're so proud of it. We went to 2 AFC title games. Yeah, but you lost. And by the way, you got embarrassed. That first half in Pittsburgh was embarrassing. Embarrassing. Okay? They crushed the Jets. They crushed them so bad they didn't even need to show up for the second half, and they still won the game. Okay, so I don't want to hear about we made it to the AFC title game. Please, your coach didn't have you ready to play in Pittsburgh. You guys thought you had the Super Bowl all wrapped up after you beat the Patriots. That was your Super Bowl. You know who has a mindset like that? Losers. Losers think like that. Losers win a second-round divisional playoff game and think they're champions. Losers think 8-8 is great. Losers. And that's what the Jets are. To dump Gatorade on a coach for an 8-8 season is pathetic.
Yeah, I will say this in his defense, Zook. You figure, let's take 2 cases here. We'll take Detroit, we'll take the Jets. They both finished the year 8-8. You can't have a lower talent-based roster, maybe other than Jacksonville, than the Jets. You might have a dozen Pro Bowlers on Detroit, and they're both 8-8. So you could say from that perspective that Rex actually has done a very good job with this team. Nobody thought they'd be 8-8 this year. I don't think that when we talked about it before, we had them probably like it was a 4 or a 5-win team. So there is that to look forward to. If he doesn't get more talent on this roster, though, they're going to be 8-8 again next year at best. I mean, they've got to address the issues that they have. Instead of celebrating being 8-8, they need to go out and make themselves a better team.
8-8, 6-10, 8-8 since that AFC Championship debacle in Pittsburgh, and it was a debacle. I'm sorry. I just don't want to hear about how great of a job he's done. I understand they overachieved. You know, when you play a last-place schedule, okay, they had a couple nice wins. All right, they beat the Patriots, that's a nice win. They beat the Saints. That was a nice win. But, I mean, come on. They got crushed by Cincinnati. They got humiliated by the Bengals, 49-9. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah, totally inconsistent team. And I'm not endorsing Rex is a great coach, but far from it. If you're looking at who's on the outside looking in for coaching jobs that's interested in the Jets job, because Lovie Smith is not interested in the Jets job, who you would get that is really going to be a shot in the arm. I mean, unless you're going to get somebody out of retirement, I think you got to give Rex one more shot. They're probably going to give him a 1-year extension. So at the end of this next season, if he doesn't improve, I think he'll be out. And I think they showed that they wanted to play for him at the end of the year. That's why he kept his job, and I think that's also why Coughlin kept his job, is because the way they finished the year. If you show you didn't lose the team and they're going to play for you, I think these general managers and the owners will give these guys another shot.
You just like Rex because he's skinny now. And he likes feet.
He does like feet. We're going to go to break here on the Zuki and Ruggs Show. When we come back, we're actually going to give predictions on these games.
On All Noise Radio.
Today's business is war, and you're right in the middle of the action. Every day, the rules change. Competitive forces grow strong. The fighting intensifies. There's only one way to stay on top of the situation. Information that can come from only one source. Today's Wall Street Journal. New moisture lipstick from Maybelline actually boosts the moisture level of lips all day. So color stays luscious, and if that doesn't seduce you, the formula is vitamin enriched. So the more you use it, the smoother your lips become. And 36 shades of reds, browns, and pales to lust after. Maybelline Moisture Lipstick does for your lips what the French did for the kiss.
We are back, baby. We are back. We are back. Yeah. Classic. We are back. We are back.
Back on the Zuki and Ruggs Show, and we're going to get right into it now. NFL playoffs, wild card weekend, 4 great games, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. It's about as good a time of year as you can have.
Oh, I'm excited, Ruggs. Stoked for these games. We got some great games here. The parity is amazing. The games are going to be phenomenal, evenly matched. I don't see a mismatch in either one of these football games.
Great way to kick off 2014.
Oh, yeah. We're all going to be glued to the TV set here. Got to get right into it, man. I mean, you look Saturday here, 4:35. You tell the wife and kids to go shopping or something. You you sit in front of the TV and you watch the Kansas City Chiefs, 11-5, kind of tailed off at the end of the year. Don't like what I saw from their defense. Their offense, Alex Smith, he started looking a little inconsistent there. Ended up 11-5. They traveled to Indy, who really handled them 2 weeks ago, as we saw. Donald Brown ran all over them. And
yeah, a little bit shocking the way they handled them.
It wasn't. A little disconcerting if you're a Chiefs fan. I ran into a Chiefs fan at a bar last night, and he was kind of like, I'm like, hey, dude, you worried at all about the game? He's like, no. I said, really? I'm like, he should be. Because I'll tell you right now, I like the Indianapolis Colts to win this football game. I like what I'm seeing from Andrew Luck. They're home. The Colts do always play very well at home. Ask Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Ask the Seattle Seahawks. Ask a lot of teams that lost in that building. It is not an easy place to play. And I think, unfortunately, for the Kansas City Chiefs, they should be proud. They went from 2-14 to 11-5. Had a great season, rejuvenated the franchise and the fan base. But unfortunately, saying all that, I think you're going to be one and done. The Indianapolis Colts are going to handle them here. Trent Richardson looks like he's playing a little better. Donald Brown, can he do it again? I can't see why not. Andrew Luck's playing some good football right now. T.Y. Hilton looks like he's getting hot. I like what I'm seeing from the Colts. Even defensively, they're starting to play a lot better. I just don't like the matchup, unfortunately, for the Chiefs. I think they ran out of gas, to be honest with you. I like the Colts here to take care of business.
I'm picking the Colts also, and I'll tell you why. One guy flies under the radar. I mean, he's a great player, has been for years. He lost in the shadow with Dwight Freeney, but Robert Mathis is having a year and a half this year, and I just see him getting all over Alex Smith. I think he's going to make it difficult. The best chance the Chiefs have is a huge day out of Jamal Charles, which is always possible. The Colts defense certainly isn't one of the better ones in the league by any means. I think Andrew Luck, he had the experience last year of having the game in Baltimore, got that under his belt. He's got the game at home, which I think is a big difference. I don't really put too much stock into the last game in the regular season. I mean, you could write that off for the Chiefs as just kind of being one of those days they just didn't have it.
Yeah.
But it did show you a lot of things about the Chiefs, and you can run the football on them. Donald Brown has been much better, and then now if you have Trent Richardson being a part of the action now too, and you got a two-headed monster there to really take some of the pressure off Andrew Luck, they can't pin their ears back and get to that's where Kansas City makes its hay. They pin their ears back. They blitz the quarterback. Ali, you got Houston, you got those guys just love to attack the quarterback. If you can make them hold back a little because they got to worry about the run. They got to worry about the screen passes. Donald Brown makes some big plays out of screen passes.
Yeah, he does.
Like nobody else in the league other than maybe LaShawn McCoy that I've seen. McCoy's the best at it, and it's not close after that. But guys like Jamal Charles and Donald Brown is another one. Makes big plays out of screen passes. Luck will, pick apart that Chiefs defense with that. And, special teams. Who are you going to go to in a big spot? Do you want Suckup? Or do you want, Adam Vinatieri kicking at Lucas Oil Stadium?
Yeah,
I think all those little intangibles plus the game being at home, I like Indianapolis.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Well said, Ruggs. 8-10. The New Orleans Saints, the 11-5 New Orleans Saints, travel to Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, to face the NFC East champion Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's going to be an excellent football game, because it's in Philadelphia. I think, obviously, I'm stating the obvious here. If this game was in New Orleans, I give the Eagles no shot at all.
Absolutely.
That defense would just have nightmares, and then when they got on the field, it would be a nightmare. Just ask the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Greg Schiano, whose last game coaching the NFL, was there, and I'm sure Greg Schiano was relieved to no longer be an NFL coach because he no longer has to coach in the Superdome against the New Orleans Saints. He was probably like, all right, get me out of here. I'll take that Penn State job. I think it's going to be a good football game. The Saints have not been great on the road this year, as we all know, including a loss to the Jets. I mean, and there's a running joke that I have with some friends of mine, and if you look back in history, if you lose to the Jets in the regular season, you usually don't win the Super Bowl. So, sorry, New Orleans, you've been snake bitten. This is a hard game to really put my finger on. I could see LaShawn McCoy having a tremendous football game partner. I think he's going to present a matchup nightmare for the New Orleans Saints defense, who's had trouble with the run pretty much all season. They're better against the pass, but let's see how they do on a frigid Saturday night on the East Coast against a talented receiver like Deshaun Jackson with game-changing speed. Yeah, Brent Selleck's coming on. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they're going to pull it off. For some reason, the Saints never win playoff games on the road. If you look throughout history, especially in the Drew Brees, Sean Payton era, they've lost, you go back to the NFC title game against Chicago the first year. You go back to that Seattle game. You just so on and so forth. Of course, the one year they won the Super Bowl, they had home field throughout. So I like the Eagles here. I think they got something going here. They got some mojo going. And I think Chip Kelly's got his offense where he wants it. Nick Foles is hot. Of course, I'm not going to compare him to Drew Brees. I don't care what his QB rating was on the season. I'm not going to go there. But I really like what I'm seeing from the Eagles. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles to pull off an upset and win this football game.
Nice. I think this game's coming down to the last possession. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this was the game of the weekend as far as how it ends. I'm also taking Philadelphia. I mean, New Orleans is still kind of deciding who's going to be on their offensive line. That is not good news when you're going into a playoff game. Trent Cole, going to have a big game. I think he's going to disrupt everything they're trying to do. The Saints have to get a big game out of Jimmy Graham. They got to figure out a way to run the football a little bit. He can't stand back there and throw 50 passes and expect to win this game. I just don't see it outdoors. At night, you might, you don't know what the weather's going to bring. If it's going to be windy, it's going to be cold. Everything seems to bode in Philadelphia's favor. Again, like you said, LaShawn McCoy's a matchup nightmare. Can Darren Sproles answer on New Orleans' end? That's one guy they're going to have to get a lot out of. But like I said, you don't have your offensive line set in stone and playing well. There's no contest between the two lines, totally in Philadelphia's favor. I like Philly's defense better. Like I said, I like their offensive line better. I like the way they run the football better. Drew Brees is the one shot that they have to keep this game close, and I think he will. I think he'll gut it out. Like you said, New Orleans, I think if they win this game on the road for a playoff game, it may be the first one they've ever had. I don't ever remember them winning a playoff game on the road.
Right.
I'll have to go back and check. If they have, it's happened once, because they hadn't won a playoff game for years of the franchise, and anytime they ever won, it had been in this recent run, which was all home games.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, the weather in Philadelphia, not to cut you off, Ruggies, for Saturday, it's going to get down to the teens on Saturday night. It's no precipitation.
Yeah,
but
think
it's
the
going
wind
to get
is the
down.
biggest factor.
It's going to get down to the teens. It's going to be cold, man.
Because that offensive line of Philly. Now, remember, they do have Cam Jordan, and they got some good defensive linemen.
Yes,
that's one strength of the New Orleans Saints. But I think if Foles keeps the ball on the ground and that offensive line gets to run block and get down and get dirty, and it becomes a big war of attrition at the line of scrimmage, I really like Philadelphia.
All right, man. It's going to be a great game. Good point. Good points there, Ruggies. I can't wait. I think they're both going to be tremendous. I'm stoked right now just thinking about it. I can't wait for these games, man. Then we go to Sunday. This first game, not as eventful, but hey, let's see. San Diego got, they got a gift. To get in. But could they be that team of destiny, Ruggs? Could they be the 05 Steelers? Which I think the Steelers could have been if they had gotten in.
Right,
by
the
way,
dangerous.
I think, yes, I think Cincinnati had a huge sigh of relief that Pittsburgh didn't make it. I'm telling you right now. As we
Which is also dangerous when you get a little relieved of who you're playing. That also could be the kiss of death. But.
Yeah, that's true. But, they can handle it. It's a good matchup. They beat San Diego earlier in the season, really handled them well. They were able to establish the run and pretty much push them around. But Andy Dalton was very mistake-prone yesterday. Don't like what I saw from Dalton. Really, I don't care. I know they won the game, but, he really had a ton of bad turnovers, really bad turnovers. But, Ruggs, what do you think, man? You think San Diego, team of destiny, can they do it?
Well, I think they can. One thing about this game is you got just a tremendous amount of talented wide receivers in this game. There's guys who can go up and get the football. You got A.J. Green and Sanu on one side. You got
Marvin Jones is really emerged.
Marvin Jones is playing well. I almost
man.
forgot him.
Had a great catch. See that touchdown he had yesterday? That what a tremendous catch.
Unbelievable
Touchdown catch yesterday.
I mean, he's got some guys that just go up and get the football, and that's why I'm picking Cincinnati. And I also, I get killed in the intro on this all the time with San Diego doesn't run the football well enough to win this game. I'm saying it again. Ryan Matthews has really shocked me. He's played real well. I'll say I was wrong when I'm wrong. I've been wrong about him. I still don't think against the Cincinnati defense, though, he's going to be enough. I think Phillip Rivers is going to have to really have a big game to win this. I think Cincinnati has more athletes in the end.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a tough game for San Diego to win. I think they're going to be one and done, as unfortunately for them. Hey, it's an accomplishment for Mike McCoy in the first season there to bring that team back to the playoffs, and Phillip Rivers did play well down the stretch. And as you said, Ryan Matthews came on strong. There was the bust word, the B word, that bust was being tagged on Ryan Matthews, but he kind of shed that tag in the latter parts of the season there. And Keenan Allen, tremendous. Kudos to the Chargers for that draft pick. He looks like he's going to be a star in this league and at the wide receiver position for years to come. Hey, they're dangerous. They've got weapons, but I just think anytime a West Coast team goes out to, well, they're not an East Coast team, but a Mid-America team there in Ohio.
1 o'clock in the
1 o'clock.
afternoon.
It's a lot to ask. I think I don't like what I saw from San Diego's defense. Niles Davis, who looks like a tremendously talented young man, really just ran all over him at will. Now you got to deal with Giovanni Bernard, who really killed San Diego in the first meeting earlier in the season. Ben Jarvis Green-Ellis can be a problem. He was a problem against them as well. The Chargers have trouble against the run, and then, of course, that sets up play action, and their secondary is not very good either. Yeah, I just think they don't match up well against Cincinnati. But, if Andy Dalton's turning the ball over, that could change the game, as we know. Turnovers kill. But if Andy Dalton plays a clean game and doesn't turn the ball over, runs the ball, makes high percentage plays, I think Cincinnati should take care of business here and finally get a playoff victory. They're not playing Houston, so
yeah, right.
So they should. I think they're gonna get. I think Andy Dalton and AJ Green celebrate their first postseason. I think if I'm going off the top of my head, has Marvin Lewis ever won a playoff game? I don't think so, man.
No, I think you're right about that.
He's always been one and done. Pittsburgh that first year, the Jets that 1 year. Yeah, I think Marvin Lewis has never won a playoff game. No. So I think they're all going to be looking for their first playoff victory in Cincinnati.
You're right, Zook, and they're really going to start with the whispers if Dalton doesn't get this one. I mean, it's going to get blamed on Dalton one way or the other. He's the quarterback. That's how it happens. Forget about what implications it could have for the coaching staff.
I think Marvin Lewis is safe.
He should be.
He's survived all these years.
Yeah,
my God.
I think he should be. But they're not gonna blame AJ Green. They're not gonna, in the end, it's gonna be, it was Dalton who can't get it done.
Right,
and he's 0-3.
And the questions, you're right. That's a great point, Ruggs.
It's a very important game for him.
The questions will start to arise. 3 straight years,
because this is a home one too. You don't want to start losing home playoff games.
Right. You're 100% right about that. The questions will arise if he somehow loses this game. So we'll see. It's a big game for Cincinnati, and it should be a good game. I don't think it'll be a blow. I think San Diego will, be in there. And the last game of the weekend, which we're all excited about, and
wow,
this is, like you said earlier in the show, Ruggs. This is a game that many people thought would be the NFC title game. I didn't think so, but because of Green Bay,
it's the caliber of one.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not what I would have predicted.
You're right. I know what you're saying. Yeah, exactly.
Gotta play theme music when these teams come out. It's like a heavyweight fight.
It is. We all remember Week 1, which was a tremendous ball game. There won't be any Clay Matthews there to try to rip off Kaepernick's head in this game, but I'm sure they're going to wish he was there to do that because, Aaron Rodgers, he's back. We saw it, and he's arguably the best quarterback in the league. He improves Green Bay's chances by
no comparison.
He really improves their chances big time. And then you add in Randall Cobb, and Eddie Lacy's running the ball really well. They got a lot of weapons, obviously, but I think ultimately that defense is going to let them down in this first game against San Francisco. I know they're home; it's Lambeau Field, but that defense has no luster. I can't, it's hard to get behind a defense like that. Aaron Rodgers is going to have to put up a lot of points, and San Fran's defense is excellent. They really, as we know, they are just a tremendous defense. They're playing well right now. I just can't see Aaron Rodgers being able to score on them at will, and I just think San Fran will be able to contain them just enough to keep the 49ers offense in the ball game, and I think the Niners are going to be able to put up some points. Michael Crabtree's back. We'll see how he does. He's been okay. He's still a little rusty, but Anquan Bolden's coming on strong, and we remember the first game of the season. He had over 200 yards receiving. It was like 20 catches.
Yeah.
Well, he had a ridiculous ball game the first game of the year. Vernon Davis is playing good football right now. It seems like he's catching a touchdown every week. Gore, it just seems like he doesn't age. So I like the 49ers to win this football game and move on to the divisional round. Unfortunately for the Packers, but I think it's going to be a tremendous football game. It wouldn't shock me in the least if the Packers won the football game. I think again, it'll come down to turnovers, but I think it's just Green Bay's defense. I just can't see them being able to rally around the Green Bay offense and win the football game. I can't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I hate going 4 for 4 with the same picks as you, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the Niners also. I think
I'm picking Green Bay.
You're going to change?
No.
I really think, like you said, I'm not overly impressed the way the Niners defense is playing lately because, I think their weakness is in the secondary. You can throw the ball against them. I think Rodgers can have a big day.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I think he can put up some numbers, but I just don't think they can stop the Niners, not consistently. That defense is just bad. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger killed them. Even Jay Cutler had a big day on him yesterday. If the Bears defense makes a stop at the end of the game, we're not even talking about the Packers being in this game. Eddie Lacy helps with the running. This Packer team is a far better team than they were in week 1 because they have Lacy. He's emerged. It gives them just another dimension to their offense. It makes them more dangerous. The Niners were everybody's kind of Super Bowl pick or among the top couple. Everybody was talking about either them or Seattle.
They were the consensus pick for the most part.
They were pretty highly thought of going into the year.
Their offense, they had trouble on offense.
Yeah, they just had issues.
And that's one of the reasons, before the year started, that I know it sounds crazy, but that's one of the reasons I picked San Francisco to not make the playoffs. And if your boy Matt Ryan puts one in the end zone on Monday night, there was a chance there that they wouldn't have made it. But yeah, we knew their offense was gonna be troublesome without Crabtree. Anquan Bolden at this point is not an elite number 1 receiver anymore. He's still very good, but he's not 2008, 2007 Anquan Bolden. Consistently on a week-to-week basis, he's not going to get you 150 yards receiving. So I thought their offense was a little troublesome. And they hit a lull. They hit a snag in the middle of that year.
And Aldon Smith, when he went with all his issues, it kind of seemed like they hit a lull. They lost that home game to Indianapolis.
Right.
Carolina kind of went in there, and really, even though it was a low-scoring, close game, it was really dominated by Carolina and their defense. And I thought that was a telling moment in the season for the Niners.
That Seattle game was bad too.
Kaepernick, picked it up lately. I think that's one good sign going in. I think he's shown in the past he can win in a difficult environment. He beat Falcons. Say what you want about their defense last year. It wasn't great. I'm not going to sit here and say it was. That was a tough place to go win a game. It was as loud as you can get a building.
And he was down.
And he was losing big time early, and he came back. So, he's got the mettle to do it. I don't think that'll be a problem. I like the Niners.
Yep.
In a real close one, I think it'll be up for grabs in the fourth quarter. Gore will take off for a big run. I think he'll hit Vernon Davis in the end zone or something with a late score and just kind of break it open. And don't forget, Aaron Rodgers is just one hit away from being right back out. And he's got some nasty guys on that defense. You don't think Willis or Navarro Bowman or one of those guys, Justin Smith, one of those guys doesn't want to take a shot at him and put him right back out.
Sure.
They'll take the
15-yard penalty, knock him out of the game. That's a good point, Ruggs. Yeah, it's easy to bully around the Chicago Bears defense. You're going against some bullies now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, good point, Ruggs. Hey, we really nailed those games. Good job, partner.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to take a break here on All Noise Radio. And after the break, we're going to come back. We're going to touch on some of the NFL coaching vacancies going on. Just want to touch on that a little bit. And also a little MLB hot stove going on. We talk a little bit about Masahiro Tanaka, see where he may wind up here on All Noise Radio.
Everybody hates car accidents, especially from bad brake pads. So choose Callahan brake pads. They're durable, dependable, and come with an outstanding sales and customer service. Tommy Callahan says,
our new brake pads are really cool.
But if you do think that other brake pads are just as good, just ask our associate what happens when you choose the other guy's brake pads.
You're driving along, and all of a sudden the kids are yelling from the back seat, I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. Not now. Truck tire. I can't stop. Help!
Don't set your family on fire. Choose Callahan brake pads.
This is the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and you're listening to the All Noise Radio Network. Now back to my main man, the Zuki and Ruggs Show. All right, we're back here on All Noise Radio on the Zuki and Ruggs Show, allnoiseradio.com. Hope you're enjoying your Friday lunch. It's pizza day. We don't in our religion.
Casual Friday.
Yeah, we don't eat meat on Fridays. Yeah, are you down with that, Ruggs?
It's a little early for the Lent season, but I'll get there eventually.
I know some Catholics don't eat meat on Fridays. Anyway, just kidding. You eat whatever you want. So, you want to get into some of these NFL coaching vacancies here. Black Monday came and went, and wow, some not very many surprises. Just got to say, Jimmy Schwartz, I'm looking at you. And boy, you're on the unemployment line, and you're so good looking. Look at you. You're the best looking guy on the unemployment line, you bum. You're a bum. You bum. What a loser. That team, how do you have the NFC North gift wrapped to you? It's like Santa came down the chimney and said, Jimmy, here's the NFC North, and you couldn't even take it. You couldn't even grab the gift from Santa, open it up, and say thanks. You couldn't even leave the guy a glass of milk and some cookies. Oh, sheer ineptitude. Jim Schwartz, good riddance if you're Detroit. Get out of town. I don't know where this guy's going to wind up. Maybe he'll be a water boy somewhere, work at a concession stand somewhere. Unreal. Inexcusable. I killed a guy for weeks. Detroit, kudos to Detroit. I'm getting rid of him. Maybe now they can actually progress and, take the next step. A couple other firings there, looking like I was a little surprised by Chudinski in Cleveland. What do you think about that, Ruggs?
I hate this move, and it's a staple of life in Cleveland and that organization. 1 year and done. You can't judge anybody in 1 year,
especially with that team. And I went on a rant on one of our earlier podcasts after the Trent Richardson trade. They are just an inept, crappy organization.
How many different regimes? You're never going to get a winning program together without consistency, and it starts at the coaching staff. Obviously it starts in the front office, which doesn't help that they churn through GMs and the like, as quickly as they do. I mean, everybody seems to want to dabble in there. Holmgren was in there for a while, and you got.
Well, this is their current GM Lombardi. This is his second tour of duty there.
Right. I mean, it's just like they just recycle guys and just try, and they're going to start doing it with coaches now. I heard this coming in on my way that the last 5 coaching changes in the AFC North have all been by the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. Well, Pittsburgh. Yeah, Mike Tomlin's done an all right job. And, give Mike Tomlin credit. He took a lot of abuse with that 0-4 start. I was on him a little bit, and he turned it around. He turned the team around. They finished 8-4 down the stretch. They fell short, but still, I mean, Mike Tomlin, they've got stability in that.
You know why Cleveland's always in last place in that division is because the other 3 teams have stability and they don't. Good
point, Ruggs. You're 100% right. Anyone who argues that just being argumentative. And they have no stability at the quarterback position. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, when you're relying on Jason Campbell to win you a football game, and listen, Jason Campbell played pretty well down the stretch. Helps that he had Josh Gordon to throw the ball to. Just seems like everything he threw up to Gordon was being caught for a touchdown. But hey, Jason Campbell, you have no franchise quarterback. So I mean, what are you doing with this Chudinski? I mean, the defense is okay. It wasn't bad. Right. You traded away your first-round pick in Trent Richardson. You gave up on him. You traded him to the Colts. I mean, you're giving him Edwin Baker and Chris Ogbenaya at running back. I mean, Jason Campbell at quarterback. Come on.
But now Zuki got a new coach in there. He's going to want to change the offensive scheme. He's going to go out there and try. They're going to want to draft another quarterback.
Sure. They have to. They
have to. I mean, they get somebody now. If they don't have a great first season with him, and they go, what do? They fire this coach, and he wants to go and scrap it and draft another. You just you never get anywhere. You don't make any headway there.
Right. You're 100% right, and it's just the Cleveland Browns are just in complete disarray, just a total mess. And maybe they promote North Turner in there and make him the head coach. That's probably what it's looking like.
I was a little surprised with Schiano. I thought maybe he got himself one more year early in the year. No question about it. I thought he was gone. Yeah. I didn't even think he'd make the year.
Right.
But they turned it around a little, and then they faded, and it was kind of like 50-50, and they decided to make the move. And they got rid of the GM as well, so they want a whole new direction there.
Right. I definitely think Lovie Smith's a great fit for Tampa Bay. We could talk about hypotheticals and where guys will go. I think Lovie makes a lot of Smith. Lovie Smith makes a lot of sense in Tampa Bay. I mean, that's where he started his coaching career. He can go there and implement bring back the Tampa 2 defense.
Be great for
him. And he can bring in an offensive coordinator, and he's ready to go. I love Lovie Smith. As
a lot of talent on that Tampa Bay roster.
There is talent there, and I'm sure he'll go there and love to have Darrelle Revis and the rest of those guys there. They got a good team. I think Lovie Smith would be a great hire. Or you could even call back your old boy Gruden. But they probably won't do that. They probably want to fix that defense. They probably want a defensive-minded coach. And Lovie makes a lot of sense. I could actually see if John Gruden does come out of retirement. I'll say this right now. In my opinion, if there's one job that Gruden should come out of retirement for, it's that Detroit job. It makes a great job. It's completely ideal for John Gruden to go to Detroit. I don't care what he says. He loves that offense. He probably has dreams of coaching that offense. To have Calvin Johnson, Reggie Bush, Matthew Stafford, who, hey, he killed the Lions down the stretch. But you know what? He's a young man. Hopefully, he can cut down on his mistakes. He can bounce back from it. And
he'll discipline that defense too.
Yes, he will.
Because that's all they're missing is
you
they
know
have
what?
no discipline on that team.
And the other factor in that hypothetical of Gruden going to Detroit is the fact that ownership. You always hear, Dallas. No, John Gruden will not tolerate Jerry Jones. Nor would John Gruden tolerate Daniel Snyder in Washington. John Gruden is the kind of guy who will tell those guys to go fly a kite. There's no doubt about it. John Gruden will not tolerate a meddling owner breathing down his neck, asking him why he did that or why he did this or you're going to do that. No. John Gruden will not do that, which is why he got along so well with the Glazers. And I think the Fords, great owners. They're not meddling. They're patient. They let football people make football decisions, which is why the Giants are also very successful as well. They let the football guys make the football decisions. And John Gruden's, I think he's still a great offensive mind. You don't lose that. I don't think the game's passed him by. I think Detroit is an ideal fit for John Gruden. We'll see if he wants to give up that cushy gig on ESPN. I wouldn't blame him if he doesn't. If he wants to become the next John Madden, God bless him. But I think that's I think it'd be a great fit.
I do too. And Zuki, you touched on it real quick. Who wants that Washington job? You touched on it with Snyder.
God.
Shanahan had to go. I didn't have any problem with that.
No, he had
decision. I thought he was, certainly going to be fired. There's a couple guys I could still see maybe that aren't safe. Shanahan, I knew was definitely going to be one.
The writing was on the wall. The writing was on the wall.
One of the first guys to go, and he was. Now, who's going to fill that spot? And I don't see any guys jumping out at me that would be a great fit for them.
No, I can see Grimes, the Baylor head coach. Would he want to go there and coach RG3 to make RG3 comfortable? I'm sure they have a great relationship.
I just have two words if they want to go with the college coach again around Steve Spurrier. That was just. I would think he'd be scared off of that, but. Snyder's not a football guy either, so he may just do it again.
You could promote. Daniel Snyder loves to throw money at guys.
Yeah.
But you're right. I unless these guys want the payday, they'll go. But if you're an established coach like Lovie Smith or John Gruden or even Bill Cowher or whomever, I can't see them going to Washington.
They're not getting any of those three guys.
I don't think they want to go there and deal with that. I think Washington's going to land a coordinator. Maybe you see the defensive coordinator of the Patriots there. I think he's going to end up getting a head coaching job. I really do. Somebody like that, I could see a coordinator. We could even see maybe Mike Zimmer in Cincinnati finally gets a head coaching job. I think he deserves it.
He does, and he might be a guy, first-time head coach, might take that job.
Yeah.
He might give it a shot.
I agree. I think he deserves it. There's a lot of coordinators who really deserve a shot.
I think he'd work well with
Jack
RG3.
Del Rio could be one.
I was just going to say Jack Del Rio, but I think I like him to, another guy that didn't fare so well on Black Monday was Leslie Frazier.
Yes.
Not totally shocked. I wouldn't have been surprised if they kept him, but I'm not surprised they didn't keep him either. He was guys that are interim coaches that take over. Generally, it doesn't turn out well.
And he was there 5 years.
Yeah,
4 or 5 years, 4 seasons. I think 4 seasons.
And he did make the one playoff appearance,
last year.
But it just seemed like they kept. It was almost like he was on a 1-year extension every year.
Right.
Unless you're Steve Fisher in '87 from Michigan taking over for Bill Frieder and you win a title, usually interims don't turn out well. It's not usually a happy ending. I think Del Rio might be the guy to go back home and play.
Former Viking. That's a good point, Ruggs. I could see that actually. Yeah, that would actually be a good fit. I could see that as well. We'll see what happens with a couple other guys there, but it was a pretty eventful Black Monday. No really big. The biggest surprise actually was Chudinski to me. Which happened on Sunday night. It was like they couldn't wait to fire him. I think there was a few players actually had some choice words for him, which I was surprised about. Yeah. Called him a part of the male anatomy that we can't say here.
Yeah. It was too bad.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. It's going to be a little hot stove for the coaching. Should be exciting. Let's see if anybody comes out of retirement. Let the speculation start now on Gruden and stuff like that. Those guys. It seems like it's every year. Even Brian Billick, I wonder if he would do it, but he's good on TV. Wonder if he would ever come out of retirement. He's another one. We'll see what happens. We'll see. But
speaking of hot stoves, what's your posting fee?
It's not $20 million. That's for sure. Yeah,
mine was.
I like the Masahiro Tanaka. Here he comes. Welcome to America. Coming to America. Masahiro Tanaka. we'll see where he winds up. He's a talented pitcher, 24-0 in Japan last year. Led his team to a championship. Tremendous pitcher, judging by all accounts and judging by scouting reports and from what we've all seen and what we've all heard. Going to probably be the best pitcher to ever come out of Japan, which could be either really good or really bad. I mean, the expectations are so high.
Yeah, it's hard to live up to.
Yeah,
like
it is hard, especially in America. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, we got the leading candidates are the Yankees, the Cubs, teams like that. Maybe even Seattle gets in there.
I'm surprised to hear that the Yankees are involved in a top free agent.
I know, shocking.
Usually
shocking.
They stay out of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, especially when they're trying to, stay at that 189. I mean, they're only like $85 million away from 189. So they're trying to get there. They'll get there in about 28 years. So, I mean, the Yankees need them desperately. And I've heard some people say, "Oh, are they really going to go get another $100 million ball player?" Yeah. I mean,
of course they are. They want to win.
Yeah. What do you think the Yankees aren't? They're going to stop? Come on, it's like a fat guy at a buffet. Are you kidding me? Of course, they're going to go for one more scoop of mashed potatoes. Come on. Please. I like the Yankees to grab him. I think it's almost a foregone conclusion in my opinion. We'll see. If he wants the money, I'm hearing the Cubs are willing to overpay and outbid anyone. It looks like Theo's back to his old ways of spending big. So we'll see. I mean, but if you're Tanaka, do you really want to go to the Cubs? I mean that ballpark. I mean, Wrigley Field's nice. I don't know if. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If it's all about the money and the Cubs are truly going to outbid everybody, he'll go there. But I can't believe the Yankees are going to let the Cubs outbid him. I'd be surprised by that. I could see the Yankees. I could see the Yankees grabbing him, making a huge splash. And they need an arm. They need a pitcher desperately. Sabathia, is not Sabathia anymore. He's no longer the elite ace he once was. And Kuroda's 50. So it's, it's like they need a pitcher. So
they do.
It makes sense. It makes sense for them and to go get Tanaka. And we'll see it. We'll see what happens. Next week at this time, and as the negotiations progress. But I'm excited to see this guy pitch in America. I'm really stoked. If he comes to the Yankees, I'm not a Yankee fan in my personal life, but I'd love to see him pitch live. I really would. I want to see what this guy's got. He's got a great splitter, man. I watched that World Baseball Classic again. My God, that pitch is deadly. It's a nasty pitch. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that's all the time we got. We're out of time, Ruggs. I'm getting yelled at here. I'm getting yelled at in my headset.
Yeah, I know. We'll get into how bad the New York local teams are in the NBA on our next episode next week. Just too much to get through with the NFL and what a great week in football. And I just about it. As excited as you can be to get ready for these playoffs, I think they're going to be a tremendous set of 4 games, and then you're going to get 4. What'll happen then is you're going to get 4 great divisional round games too.
Unbelievable.
And you want to talk about there's 4 teams that aren't even playing this week. They're tremendous teams. I mean, they're going to be great games next week. So
unbelievable.
That's all the time we have though for you this week. I hope you enjoyed your lunch hour with Zuki and Ruggs.
Yeah.
Go ahead, go back for seconds. Nobody's watching. Your boss. Your boss. It's Friday. He's probably already home.
Have one of those table pies. Have one of those table pies. Yeah, enjoy. Call out sick too. Screw it.
Yeah, go ahead and rewind the podcast. Start us from the beginning again. Rewind.
Yeah, and comment and please like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel on Zuki and Ruggs Show on YouTube. Our Facebook page there, and also we're on we're going to be streaming on the Tri-State Sports Guys. Oh, one more shout out to my man Michael DePalma. Thank you to him. And real quick. He called the Jets beating the Dolphins yesterday. He put it on Facebook. I kind of was like, no way they're going to do it. I didn't think the Jets were going to win the game, and they did. And he was at the game. Nice job, Mike. Yeah, I know you had a great time watching his Jets and the Dolphins season. So we're there too. Tri-State Sports Guy, like their Facebook page as well.
Absolutely,
they're awesome. Those guys really do a great job. And that's all. And that's it for us on allnoiseradio.com. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to y'all. See you next time. Do you have a friend or loved one who suffers from verbal diarrhea?
Oh my God, did you see what
is
she
it
was
so
wearing?
bad that it is
Like
ruining
her
your
shoes?
family functions or intimate moments?
I mean,
I can't take it anymore. I just feel like poking my eyes out when they ramble on and on and on.
Hello, I'm Dr. Joel Horowitz, and fortunately for you, we at Know It All Labs have developed a treatment for this growing epidemic known as sedate phobia, or fear of silence.
Taken once daily, this oral remedy known as synthetic transparent ferric uranium, or commonly referred to as STFU, will begin the healing process.
STFU saved my marriage. Now I can get through an entire movie and actually hear the words. And I don't think about crashing the car every time we go for a family trip. Thank you, STFU.
For everyone who has had to endure a life without peace and quiet, STFU is for you. Results may vary. Side effects are not common, but may include psychotic episodes, loss of testosterone, bleeding of the auditory canal, and pestilence. Use as directed.
All Noise Radio.
Powered by Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Are you the police?